Hey, welcome again. Another episode of Cardboard Conversations. Happy Saturday and happy May the 4th, May the 4th be with you, Matt.
You too, brother.
Yeah, right. It's funny because we were just trash talking Star Wars behind the scenes before this. Well, I was at least. I'm not really not a big fan.
It's nothing insane, but I'll watch each movie once.
Credit than I give it. Man, I can't even think of the last Star Wars movie I saw. Maybe Rogue One, I think was the last one I saw. And it was
I couldn't
fine.
tell you the name of the movies I've watched, but I remember watching them and going, it's okay.
That's I at least enjoy the old ones, with Mark Hamill and stuff like that. Those are a campy adventure film in space. It's odd that it's guised as sci-fi, but it's really, a fantasy movie. But I like the puppets and all that stuff, the practical effects. But all the new things, it's just a bit too overhyped for me.
I don't know if this one is really good. I would highly recommend watching that.
Okay, I never caught that one, but I did see they had some animated shows that were pretty darn good. I saw one of the Clone Wars, I think it was. It was like all the troopers, the ones in white or whatever. They were all clones of each other. It was pretty fun. Yep, Stormtroopers, that's what it is.
I think I've heard of that one. So yeah, Star Wars Unlimited, Spark of the Rebellion, is that the first set?
Yes, I think there's only the one set right now.
The boxes are like $250 a piece.
They're pumping right now. It's pretty wild.
They're up 77% over their lows. Yeah, they're doing pretty great, actually, surprisingly. I wasn't sure how popular this game would be. When we played it at Gen Con, it played okay. I didn't dislike it. I know we were mostly playing for the promo cards, but
yeah. What up, Benson? We're talking about Star Wars. Yeah. The Spark of Rebellion. Yeah, that is kind of wild. Definitely no way I'd pay $250 for a box of this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, hey, let's do some what if. Would you rather have a box of this, 24 packs of this, or would you rather have Modern Horizons 3? A play booster of it.
Well, I ordered 2 play boosters and a set of commander decks for Modern Horizons 3 already, so that'll kind of answer it. And I haven't ordered any Star Wars Rebellion.
I was gonna say, you were able to place orders on that already?
Yeah. You didn't seem interested, so I figured I would just place my order. So the way it works is...
I'm definitely... no, I definitely want to get in on that.
Oh, so I can still probably place another order. So the way it works is there's like waves of orders. The first one is the cheapest one, and then after each wave of that, it gets more expensive as each wave sells out. That's how the website does it. And I found out it's like an invite-only website. So I tried going to that website, and there's like just a login screen. It's not even just like you can't even like see anything without logging in.
Right.
So you have to buy something from them somewhere else, and then you get invited via the purchase email. It's like an invite only.
Yeah.
I found out they're a card shop in Pennsylvania, I believe. So I'm not entirely sure how they give such good deals, and I'm not entirely sure how they don't charge tax and don't charge shipping and still make money. But I don't care. As long as I get my product, I don't really necessarily care what.
Yeah, I think probably a play booster box, maybe just one of them, or that in the bundle. I saw they had like a thing for that.
Yeah, so the pricing that I have from my buddy, because he bought from them before, play boosters are $224 shipped, so there's no tax or shipping on that, which is great. The collector boxes are $329. I avoided the collector boxes. I don't know if it's the right play.
Yeah, because at that point, it'd be fun to open. Looks like it's going to be a pretty powerful set. As always, Modern Horizons classically has been quite good at delivering the goods, as it were.
Yeah.
And, this is looking like it's gonna. Surprised
I have a gut feeling about the collector boxes not holding value, and I don't know why. Everything else I'm kind of like okay about. Like 173 for the commander box, the commander decks. I feel like the commander decks are gonna be pretty strong. Um, so 173 is like a pretty good deal. I was pretty happy to see because like they would think they were 225.
I
See
hate
here,
this new
modern.
TCG player layout.
Yeah, you have to. I don't like how the decks like the Modern Horizons don't show up, or the Commander stuff doesn't show up in the normal Modern
Huh,
Horizons part. So it's
yeah.
231 for Modern Horizons 3 Commander decks, and I got them for 173.
Ooh,
So that's
that is
$50
soft.
cheaper than anywhere else that I found
Mm.
them. You can get let's see here. If you wanted to, there's the bundles for $60. And then there was like a little like bundle deal. I haven't really done the math, but at first glance it doesn't seem like much of a deal. But you get
Yeah,
a
I
play
don't think it
booster and a
really
bundle
is.
for 283. But yeah, so I mean I spent $635 or whatever, $28 for just the 2 play boosters. I'm gonna draft one on stream with the bros and then leave one on the shelf probably is what I'm doing. And then the commander decks will just sit on the shelf as well. I think this is definitely a good product to have on the shelf. I don't foresee them going up or down for a while, but I don't think they'll go down to the 173s. It seems like these prices are close to the distributor pricing. So,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great deal at that price. I don't know if I were to be buying it at, the regular retail prices, I don't think I'd be engaging with the product at all. I mean, 250 for a play booster box plus your taxes and shipping, you're looking at 275 probably, and $400 for the collector booster box. I mean, again, these are pre-sale prices, so it's not like it's going to stay like this, but at the
It
same
could
time,
go up.
yeah, yeah. But then we're back at the whole, buying product to be able to see if it's, going to go up in value and what
Oh
reselling
yeah,
at
it's
that
all a
point.
gamble. I mean,
Yeah.
OTJ's
And
doing great. I'm pretty happy with that.
oh yeah, yeah,
Play boosters holding steady at 135. Collector boxes are at the around the 210 marker. I see one right now for 199, but it's got $10 shipping, so it's still 210 plus tax. So I got my whatchamacallits. What did I buy mine at? I think I bought the collectors for 179 shipped. Like I don't think you'll ever be able to get them for that cheap. That seems pretty low.
mm,
182 shipped. So I got 2 of those. I got the play boosters for 116 shipped.
that is
Again, I don't
definitely
I don't really
solid.
foresee
Yeah,
them going down. The set's doing well. There's a lot of nice spicy cards in it. It's a blast to
yeah.
draft.
I think one of the
Um,
things that really helped it out a lot is how they merged what was going to be the aftermath like set, and they just put it in. So all the stuff from the vault, the big scorecards. I think it was
yeah.
good for the set to have those incorporated with the main set itself. If they didn't do that, I don't think that this set would have held the way that it is currently.
There's some really funky stuff going on with some of the cards from the set. I'm trying to see if I can like find there's a specific version of the cards that are all selling for like nothing, and it's wild.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can figure out a way to bring up
Tell me what
like
you're
the way
talking
that
about.
it's listed. I don't know if there's like a filter for this specific kind of card. It's Outlaws of Thunder Junction, but it's the prosperity cards.
Oh, so like the showcase ones.
Yeah, I don't know. Can I just click? Is there a showcase? There's not a showcase filter. I just see rarity, card type, sealed. There's the list reprints, but I don't really care about that. Can I do like Outlaws of Thunder Junction showcase? Not really. Oh, they're not. They're actually not showcase. The showcase ones are like the big score and the breaking news. Unless they're just like maybe if I sort low to high. What are they called? They're called I guess they're called breaking news. Yeah, they're called breaking news. So breaking news. That didn't work.
Like the art in this set, though. I was surprised that I did enjoy it as much as I have so far. Originally, when it came out, I was not thrilled whatsoever with the idea of a Wild West themed Magic the Gathering set. I think that honestly, the Neon Dynasty wasn't big for me. Not a huge fan of all the like swords and stuff that they did in that. This was a little bit more tasteful.
I like it. I mean I don't know. I had a blast drafting it, so maybe my outlook on it is completely different. But it was super fast, super blast to. I mean, I also won a lot, so like my um, I don't know. My idea of fun is winning.
Yeah,
So
maybe that was a bit of an influence. I always found that winning makes things feel a lot better as well. Oh, and we got it. We got to touch on it. I know you said you wanted to talk about Lorcana for a little while, right, Matt?
I want nothing to do with Lorcana. Okay,
Oh
I
well,
found it.
let's
I
go ahead
found
and
a
stop
different.
sharing that.
I found a different. I'm gonna share. Present. I'm gonna share screen one. That's the one. Allow.
He's doing it.
Okay. So these here, these are the breaking news showcase. So I guess they are still showcases. These breaking news cards are ridiculously cheap, and I'm
Huh.
not entirely sure why. For example, let's look at I think it's Dust Bowl. Can I just Control F dust? Wrong window. Control F dust. Dust Bowl. Is Dust Bowl two words? There it is. Dust Bowl. So Dust Bowl $1.07. If we go to Scryfall, Dust Bowl. The lowest one before this, $12, $21, $1.
Hmm.
I don't understand, and it looks good. The art's fantastic. I think it's great. Maybe people really hate this. Maybe it's bouncing off because I don't know. I know the prof hates it. He hates that like the top left of the crinkled like the newspaper. It makes it look like it's like a damaged card. Maybe people hate. What do you like it? What do you think of? What do
I
you think about the breaking news?
I
Some of
don't
them
like
look
that it
great.
says prosperity all along the top of it.
What's the Prosperity Post? The name of the newspaper of Thunder Junction.
Yeah, I'm just saying my opinion on it. Uh, I don't particularly like the frame of it, but the art style. I'm a huge fan of this. Like this is very comic booky. Um, it looks like Hellboy or Spawn or something, like it's very bold.
Kind of Trigun
Um,
esque.
like that Mindslaver. I hate that card, but I love that art.
Mind
Like,
Break Trap, $22. The previous lowest Mind Break was like 50. Yeah, $56, 221, and then we got $19. It's just I'm not entirely sure why these are so cheap. Every version of this version of every card is like significantly cheaper than everything else. I just don't understand.
yeah,
Like I
that
said,
is
I
weird.
guess people just hate it. Either that, or I was watching a collector box opening, and you do get like 3 to 4 of these per pack. So
Oh, so
maybe
they're
there's
just
just
going to be
too
like very
many.
common.
Yeah, maybe they're. I don't know. I guess that's like yeah, like some of the. I don't know. Just Dust Bowl being at $1 is just so strange when like the lowest other version is 12. It just doesn't. And another thing that was really weird, there was an abrupt decay. Yeah, the abrupt decay, 68 cents. I don't know. Archive Trap, $1.66. Like they're all cheap. I don't. The only expensive one is the Mindbreak track. Every other one, Oko is only $5. You got Thoughtseize at $8. Actually, a pretty good deal for Thoughtseize, I think. I don't remember Thoughtseize being like a super expensive.
Yeah. These are all
$10.
surprisingly cheap. And there's textured foils too, apparently. I did not.
I also didn't know that. I haven't seen any. Well, I guess I'm managing 35. Maybe there's a
Mandarin
couple.
textured foil, 183. Jeez
Yeah, I
Louise.
found that out by going to. I was typing in like Magic the Gathering. Um, I guess it would probably be in. Actually, I should be here. I have to imagine it's. Yeah, here we go. Textured foils. $54, $55, $39, $47, $107. Wow, they're all expensive. None of them are.
Yeah.
They must be rare. Like not serialized. Well, archive. Mindbreak Trap is $250
And it's
almost.
got the extended version artwork of the breaking news frames. So these look really good to me. I just don't care for them being textured foils. Reason being is I'm going to sleeve my cards. I do that even with my proxy decks.
Well,
It's
yeah, I
like
sleeve my proxy decks as well,
I
just
don't,
because I don't know. I like
it's
Katana
easier
thieves,
to
even though
shuffle and they
they won't
last
sponsor
longer.
us, but I got a Morbid Opportunist in my as a special guest in my box.
Ooh.
I don't remember if this card was actually worth money or not. But apparently not. It looks nice though. I like the art. Is there any of them that are worth money? And none of them are showing anything, so I don't know. Scape Shift, that would have been nice to get. I like Scape Shift. Stoneforge Mystic looks fantastic. Real big fan of Stoneforge Mystic. Mystic Snake, another cool looking card. I don't know. To me, this set was a it was a big hit for me. I like it a lot more after playing it and doing the shorts for the set as well. Like, there's just a lot of good cards, and I mean I enjoy these. Yeah, I will admit these look better than the breaking the breaking news versions.
Hmm.
I don't dislike the breaking news versions, but um like honestly, like an entire deck with this border would be kind of cool, like a thematic like OTJ deck.
Yeah.
But
It'd be a lot of work to get that. You'd have to have a very dedicated artist because I don't think there are enough of those all in the same color to run
no,
a five
there's
color
like less
deck
than
again.
100. What I'd have to do is I'd have to like get the border on. I'd have to like I was thinking that you could just use a template,
Mm,
but you really can't because they're all different. Like the colors are different.
yeah.
The mana symbols are within the actual like art itself. The text is different colored. Yeah, it'd be pretty difficult to do. And then I'd have to have a commander that was like either from there, like an Oko deck or something, or like a Kellen. Kellen was it Kellen the Kid? Kellen, where's the Kellen at? He's in the. Oh, that was another thing I meant to do. I meant to do these bounties. I forgot. I need to print these out and actually try playing with the bounties to see how they are. I forgot all about the bounties. I thought they'd
Oh,
be in the box,
the
but they're
hidden
not.
game.
They're not in the play booster, so I don't even know where you get
Oh,
them from.
oh, that's interesting.
Where are they? How do you get them?
I wonder if they're in the decks or something.
Commander. It's in the commander decks. I see. But yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with what the bounty system is, there's like these new bounty cards, kind of similar to Planescape, or is it called Planescape or Planeshift? I think it's Planescape.
I think
Either
so.
way, there's the other Magic version where you have like you jump through planes and like each plane has like like a global thing and you roll a die and you try to see if you can like go to a different plane. But instead, you have bounties where it's like at the beginning of your end step, if you committed a crime this turn, you collect the reward, and the reward is where does it actually say the reward on this?
Oh, hey, what up, Ed? He saw Lorcana at a flea market today. Ain't that about a
Oh
bit?
yeah, they're trying to get rid of the garbage, dude. Just take out the trash. That's actually kind of funny that it's actually in the trash already. For some people,
It's at the flea market, not the trash. Get
I
out of here with that
mean,
hate.
I mean, what th-
I so
what
I
things are at a flea market normally? The things that people don't want. They're trying to
eh,
offload their
eh,
garbage to you.
eh. Um, I do think though that long term, I don't believe that Lorcana like sealed is going to
Super.
be a thing. I don't know if that's the era that we are in any trading card game anymore. I think it's definitely difficult long term to see any value go up in those items. At least I'm not seeing it lately. Fluctuates, but it's buy low, sell high, and you kind of got to time the market.
Yeah,
It's not
time it.
as
It is kind of it's like a time bomb stock.
yeah. I mean, when it's hot, it's hot. When it's not, it's not. I mean, I'm still in the game of like Fallout. I think that was one of the easiest to see was going to pop off kind of items. And I'm glad that I got in at the pre-order price and then jumped up and I made my money. But I don't think that that's going to be something that we see a lot of free tendies come around like that anymore, except for Bloomborough. That's probably going to be an easy fucking home run.
Dual Brain, I have seen some of your flea market videos. I don't really watch all of them or anything, but I've seen a couple of them, and I was more just making a joke about the general theme of a flea market is typically you take all the shit you don't want and you sell it to people that hopefully will buy it. Please buy my junk. There's so many people that take their stuff to a flea market. They're like, it's $1 because I don't want it anymore and I don't want to take it home. So that's the kind of thing when I think of Lorcana. I don't want it anymore. Please take it from me at any price. You can have it for free, please. I don't know. I want nothing to do with Lorcana. It was funny last week or last time when Bob was on, we had this discussion. Well, a little bit of an argument, but about like when we were talking about the finance thing, the finance report, and he was like, "Well, if you're not interested, why do you think anybody else would listen to?" I'm like, "Dude, you guys talk about Lorcana all the time, and I have no interest in Lorcana." So you can't
Mm,
use that as a gauge because people
yeah,
actually
right.
do like talking about Lorcana. So I'm okay with it,
Mm.
but I hold back a lot of things about Lorcana. I just don't say anything. You guys talk about Lorcana, I just don't talk. I'm like, all right, well, you guys can talk about Lorcana. It's cool. I'll chime in whenever we stop.
Well, what have you been playing lately, Matt? You been in to any cool games lately in specific?
Well, I found out that Arc Ascended was on the Xbox Game Pass, and I was like, oh, I
Oh,
didn't even know
okay.
it came on the Xbox Game Pass. So I loaded that up, and then I was plagued with about 45 FPS, sometimes down into 30 FPS on Epic. And the game looks fantastic. So if you guys aren't familiar with Arc Survival Evolved is like this survival game where in like a dinosaur land, and you build the base and you collect things and you tame dinosaurs and you can fight your dinosaurs versus other dinosaurs. Think kind of Power World, but like Arc is like 10 times better than Power World. Um,
Yeah. Oh, abso-freaking-lutely, dude.
and Ascended looks absolutely beautiful. Like what you're seeing right there, that's real in-game footage. It's not just for B-roll footage. It's an Unreal 5. It is stunning. And so I wanted to play it, and I'm like, oh, it's free. This is fantastic. Well, I found out that Xbox Game Pass. And to put into perspective, I have a 4080, an RTX 4080, so it's like $1,000 graphics card, and it was running at like 30 FPS, and I'm like 40 FPS. I'm like, why is it running so shittily? I found out that the reason is because Xbox Game Pass doesn't support DLSS, it doesn't support frame generation, it doesn't support RTX. It basically doesn't support any of the functions that the RTX cards can do because it's mainly for. I mean, the architecture for Xbox is AMD, so like I guess they just don't support it. I think they support FRS, but that's or FSR, but I think that's basically it. So I decided to buy it on Steam so I can actually use my graphics card, which
Yeah.
sucked because but they did discount it. They discounted it 20% if you owned the Ark Survival Evolved with.
Ooh,
You can just upgrade, kind of like a upgrade path, and you get all the DLC as they're ready. You get all the DLC as it comes out, which is pretty good. But yeah, it feels like a completely different game, even though it is
45?
kind of the same game.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's exactly the same from what I understand is that it's all the same game architecture. All of the like resources are in the same exact spots. Everything's like the same. It's just in like Unreal 5, so it looks and plays smoother.
yeah, with all the RTX stuff that I have, like the frame generation, which is actually I think it's wizardry. It's kind of wild. I'm getting 115 FPS in the
Holy
game,
shit.
so and that's still on epic quality. The only thing I turned down was like shadows, and then there's a command to turn off volumetric clouds and volumetric fog, and it gives you like an extra like 10 FPS, 5 FPS, somewhere around there. It just turns off like the crappy clouds up in the sky. But yeah, it's very much a it feels different than the original. Like I've played the original, I've beat the original. I've like did all
Mm.
the raids with my buddy. We like raided I think we did everything but like the last raid. I forget exactly. We never went down to the volcano. Or did we? I forget. Either way, we had like a crazy raid dino setup, and that was pretty interesting. Um but this version, our first playthrough was hell so far because we picked the we found a spot in this island, and we picked what we thought was a safe area, and so we start building the base, and then we like turn to our left, and there's a freaking T-Rex just like off in the distance. And we're like, okay, well, we have to keep an eye on that guy. And he typically stayed over there. But then he got like really, really close to our base, so I took off all my gear and I like ran him away, I, like let him away. So to try so he doesn't kill our dinosaurs. But I mean, we've had a couple different like dinosaurs just wander into our place and kill all of our stuff because we're playing on the highest difficulty. So
Mm.
it sucks because you get like a level 30 raptor, and then you're like, okay, I can take on this I don't know, this boar, and you can't, and you die, and
And then it kills your rap
then it
your
kills your raptor,
dino
then it
too.
kills you,
Yeah.
and then you got to run back naked to your body and hope that you can
Yeah.
get it. But
Yeah,
yeah, we're playing on scorched earth right now.
I played a lot of the first one, Survival Evolved. I liked that you were able to play by yourself and mess with all the rates and stuff. So you could take the grind out of the game, similar to like how Pal World did it, where it was
Yeah.
customizable server settings for yourself. So
Well,
you're
I'm
able
hosting
to
our dedicated server, so I have control of
Mm.
all the settings.
Oh, nice.
I have another PC that I use as my hosting PC. I do it for Valheim, I do it for Arc, and then an Arc Ascended as well. And then whenever the next Arc comes out, I'll have it dedicated for that as well, as long as it looks good. But yeah, it's nice to have your own server, so you can just adjust all the settings. I can take the server down so we don't like lose anything when we're going to sleep, and that we don't like our dinosaurs don't die. And because technically, I think if you have a server that's constantly running, I think like randomly you can just wake up and your whole base is just dead from a random dinosaur. I'm not entirely sure on that, but
Hmm.
I don't know. You can build walls and stuff like that, but we're still early on in the game, so it's not really like something that we can
And for me
do right away.
lately, I've been playing a lot of Hades. Started a new playthrough, doing it on just regular difficulty. Usually I play on God mode, which is a built-in style. So you can just turn it on in settings. And every time you die, you gain a permanent 2% resistance. So if you're just wanting to see the story or not very good at the gameplay, you can just slowly build up a way to get past it. And
Interesting.
honestly, um, I was getting pretty good at the game. So I was like, well, I can kind of, take it on for what it's meant to be. And it is difficult, but yeah, super fun.
What up, Four Keeps?
What Yeah, I've been
Yeah, I have a buddy that plays Hades. He loves it. I've
mm,
watched him play it. It looks like a fun game. I've never played it. I will play it one day. Maybe after Arc. Maybe I'll give it a whirl. You said it was on Xbox Game Pass, so I have that. So
yeah.
I'll give it a little the old download and play. Do you play on controller or keyboard and mouse?
I actually play controller, even though it's on my
Yeah.
PC, because when I first learned the game, it was on Xbox. So that's what I, cut my teeth on. And I tried it a little bit on keyboard and mouse, and it definitely just isn't for me.
Now there are games that they are designed and they play better with a controller. Um,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Hades, I was told is one. Another one that I've been playing and we play controller with is Monster Hunter. I've tried
Mm.
playing Monster Hunter on keyboard. It is horrible. Playing on controller is so much better.
It's funny. Red Dead Redemption 2, I found was exactly the same thing. Um, I played on the Xbox, and I got it for my father on PC, and he said he was having like the hard time playing it. So I went over at one point, we were hanging out, and I was seeing what he was talking about. And my God, yeah, the PC controls for our Rockstar games are just absolutely garbage.
Hmm.
Um, so I had him start using a controller, and instantly it was just like a fish to water, you know.
Yep, some
And
games
shout
are just
out to
better with
Four
controller.
Keeps. Hey, hope you're doing well out there. Happy Saturday to you, and may the fourth be with you.
Oh my god, he's got 4 in the name.
Yeah, right.
Did you see? This is harking a little bit back to Magic the Gathering. Did you see the official post that Wizards made because of the leaks from Modern Horizons 3?
Yeah, I guess they didn't enjoy the low quality pictures, so they were
Yeah,
just done with it. They actually called it potato quality, I believe.
yeah. The exact wording. There was a quote here. Where's it at? Um, At any rate, what we've experienced leaks of this mag. We've never experienced. Wait, hold on. We've experienced leaks of this magazine, and each time we get a similar feedback that there's a significant contingent of our fans who prefer to engage with previews without fuzzy, distorted potato camera photos getting in the way, and we definitely prefer it. Yeah, I mean, like, so like the leaks are interesting to me. Like, we only benefit from the leaks, and they only really get hurt from them, which I can understand them not liking them. Like the whole point of like it makes them want to pull back from being able to give people previews of stuff, which is
Yeah.
annoying. They can't trust people. Like people are like, I just don't just. I I understand both sides, so I don't know. It's interesting, but some of the cards that are coming out in Modern Horizons 3 are gonna be pretty insane.
Yeah,
I got some
it's
shorts
looking
coming
like
up.
there's a lot of juice in the set coming up.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, Power Creek continues on forward. This is pretty much what we were expecting, wasn't it?
I wouldn't say they're all power creep. I mean, some of them are like
No, not all of
pretty
them, of
evident of power
course.
creep, like White of the Reliquary, which is a version. It's a playoff of Knight of the Reliquary.
Mhm.
It is 1 mana cheaper, and in my opinion, not necessarily straight up better, but it's pretty dang strong. Um, with it being 1 mana cheaper, it's a little strange. Like, why is it? Why not just make them both 3 cost? Like, why is it 2 instead of 3? That's a little strange. Maybe because it's a zombie, it's a little cheaper because it's like the undead version. So maybe that's the theme they went. It's a little strange, but it's a really good card. You just tap it, sacrifice a creature, and search your library for a land, put on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. And then it gets 1+1/+1 for each creature in your graveyard. So it's a 2 mana vigilant 2/2 that gets a bunch of pluses from every creature in your graveyard and has a sack outlet built into it and fetches lands. Like it's a really strong 2 mana
That
creature.
is solid. Yeah, that's
And then they
very
reprinted Kappa Cannoneer. So I think I'm not
yeah.
sure if it was modern legal before this. I gotta go check Scryfall because I heard somebody say that Kappa Cannoneer wasn't modern legal until now or until the set comes out.
Huh.
Let's double check that. Yeah, right now it's not legal in modern. So the moment this comes out, Kappa Cannoneer is going to be legal in modern, and that's gonna be bonkers because Kappa Cannoneer. Do you know what he is?
I just know that it was a good card.
It has Ward 4, which is pretty
Oh,
dang good.
that
It's
pretty
a
much
6 mana
means
4/4. So 6 mana 4/4. You're like, it's not that big a deal. It's an artifact creature, turtle warrior. I could just show the card. I have the card up. Present, share screen. This one, allow. So let's open this card in a new tab, get it in there. All right, so here we go. So 6 mana 4/4, but it has improvise. Your artifacts can help cast the spell. Each artifact that you tap when you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1. So this could come out for 1 blue mana as a 4/4 with ward 4. And what makes him especially busted is that whenever Kappa Cannoneer or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you get a 1/1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked. It becomes
yeah.
an unblockable ward 4. It's going to be much larger than a 4/4. Um, this guy is gonna run havoc in modern. He's very strong. I think it was modern legal at one point. Maybe I don't actually know how modern works, but either way, it sounds fun. I like Kappa Cannoneer. I know how strong this card is because my buddy plays an artifact deck, and this is in that deck. And every time I'm like, Ward 4, holy, it's just very high number. You have to pay like 7 mana to get rid of this guy. Swords of Plowshare now has become 5 mana. If you don't get rid of him, he's an unblockable monster. Good.
Or you just use something that's uncounterable.
True. That is one of the cool things about like Abrupt Decay. Like it, you just don't pay the ward and it gets countered, quote unquote. But the nice thing is it can't be countered. So
Yeah.
it's great. I don't know if there's a can't be countered kill spell that gets rid of Kappa Cannoneer though, because he can't get Abrupt Decay. He's too much mana. I mean, he could be countered, but that doesn't prevent him from being killed. Where's the what? Meltdown is another card that like I thought was a new card, but apparently this was back in Urza. And I'm like, why don't people play this card in Commander? This card is really good. Yeah, Urza Saga was printed originally. It's just 1 red X, destroy each artifact with mana value X or less. So for 1 red mana, you can kill all tokens, all artifact tokens. Seems like very strong. Treasures, clues, maps. There's tons of like all the mana rocks, all the free mana rocks, all of the you can pay 1 mana and get rid of all the soul rings and all the baubles, and I don't know, I just don't see it ever played. It's very
Ratchet
strange.
Bomb. That's my jam. I fucking love me some Ratchet Bomb, baby.
Dude, this guy right here, this card, I gotta tell you, this is one of my favorite decks from the Jurassic Park era, or from the Jurassic Park set. 5 mana, Sultai, best colors in Magic. He comes as a 6/6.
As it enters the battlefield, discard any number of creature cards. It enters with a flying counter, and if a card is discarded this way,
Now, there's one downside with this, and I'm not entirely sure if they meant to do this, but there is no way to give him double strike in the colors of Sultai. It just doesn't exist on a creature to give him double strike. The tags just don't exist, and I don't know if that was intentional or if they like don't want you to play him as your commander. So he's in the 99 and then you play in another color. But there's no way to give him double strike, which is unfortunate. Because what I found with this card is the thing that makes him busted is when he enters the battlefield, draw a card for each counter on it. There's some really cool interactions you can do. So he enters the battlefield with the counters, and then the trigger goes on the stack. Even if he gets killed, you still draw the cards, so that doesn't matter. So that's cool. They can be stifled. If you stifle the enter the battlefield, draw a card, then he still enters the battlefield with all the counters, but you don't draw any cards if he gets stifled. But not many people run stifle, which actually is a bit of a interesting thing. My buddy runs a lot of stifles. It actually is a blowout. If you time your stifles
it's
right,
super good.
It's really good. But I found out a really cool interaction with the way that this is worded with so the Staff of Completion, the ability proliferate, tap it, pay 3 life, proliferate. If you, when it enters the battlefield with the draw trigger on the stack, you can use Staff of Completion to proliferate and double all the counters that it came in the battlefield with, and then you'll draw double the number of cards because you won't get any extra benefit from like having double first strike, double whatever, but any 1/1 counters will get doubled, of course. But then you just draw double the number of cards. I can tell you that for the first time in my group, my play group was like, maybe you shouldn't run Jeweled Lotus with this commander. Because I can get him out on turn 2, sometimes turn 1 if I'm very lucky, and he'll almost always have some combination of Hexproof, Indestructible, Haste, Lifelink Menace, Reach, Trample, Vidge, and he's a 6/6 on turn like 2 or 3. He like can't be killed because he's indestructible and has hexproof. I drew like 7 cards as he entered the battlefield. If I had the staff, then I would draw 12 cards. Yeah, he's very, very strong, and it's the first actual commander that a friend has ever thought. He was like, you know what? He's like, there's a chance you might need to power that down a little bit. And I'm not even playing like this is the only thing that I could power him out with is Jeweled Lotus and a Dark Ritual. Because of its mana, it's really like a unique because it's got the hybrid blue black. It
Yeah.
makes it really easy to get out early. So you just have like one mana dork and a dark ritual, and you're like, boom, turn 2, no problem. Or one mana and a jeweled lotus, and you're in the same situation. You just have to have double green. Yeah, it's he's very strong. And then also like with things like the Skullspore Nexus, he like double his power, he becomes like a 12/12. If he ever I do this thing where I have a couple flickers in there, so like exile target creature and it comes back to the battlefield because I'll enter the battlefield triggers. So if you have like if you drew like a bunch of really good taglines and somebody's about to like try to kill it, you could just flicker it and then refuel your hand, refuel the counters on him, make sure he doesn't die. So I run a couple of these like flicker spells just as kind of like a sort of like protection. Yeah, it's a pretty fun deck. And it runs a bunch of like things that like you're like what like Wilson refined Grizzly because he has Vidreach Trample, so he gets the three tag words for one card. So you're kind of really just kind of looking for like a combination of multiple different keywords for you to like hexproof is fantastic. So you definitely want hexproof. You run some of the gods like Ronus in the Indomitable because it has Death Touch and Indestructible. And same thing with Kefnet the Mindful, flying indestructible. So 2 keywords, but then 1 being indestructible, which is great. Something like Weathered Sentinels, like I didn't even know this card existed, and like why would you ever play this card? But it has Defender, Vigilance, Reach, Trample. But notably, he doesn't copy Defender, so you just ignore Defender, so he just gets Vid Reach Trample from it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Elder Gargaroth is just a good creature in general, but then he also has Vid Reach
That
Trample.
thing's so good.
Same thing with like Triplicate Titan. Triplicate Titan is actually a monster because you can discard it to your commander and then reanimate it. So you just have like a really cheap 9/9 because it has a little bit of reanimate theme. It has reanimate, has animate dead, not like a ton, but just enough. Living Death is another one because you're like discarding all these creatures with all these tag words. Why not have the ability to wipe the board and then Living Death? You know,
Mm.
especially if you have like a way to like sack your commander. If they kill your commander and then like you Living Death, you get your commander back plus all the things you discarded plus all the things you're going to discard. Draws you cards. So yeah, I don't know. Super fun deck. This deck I want to like refine a little bit more. Like I found Canker Bloom was another one.
Canker Bloom. God damn. That
Yeah.
sounds like something you get at a truck stop.
So Canker Bloom is another one of these cards that I really help with the proliferate ability. So it's a 2-drop, so it comes out typically before your commander, and then sacrifice proliferate. Pay 1 mana, sacrifice proliferate. So with the trigger on the stack, you proliferate it, and boom, you draw millions of cards. Yeah, so I'm trying to evolve this deck into be, I guess, being more of a monster because there are some times where like you draw a bunch of cards, but your guy's just a 6/6, and it's not enough to close the game out because you have to kill 3 different people as a Tron because it's kind of it's a Voltron deck, really. And with it being a 6/6, it takes 4 attacks to kill somebody if you don't have any pumps to its power. So you really need stuff like the Skullspore Nexus to double its power, or the
What up,
Luxure's Goddess
DJ?
Gifts.
I see
Gives
you
a
got that
+1/+1 for each counter on it.
Squirrel games going on tonight, doing some poll games and mini games. So good luck with that, buddy.
This is one of my favorite decks in the more recent. I milled somebody. I milled actually 2 people out in
Oh shit.
Commander recently.
Oh,
It was
that's
I was playing this. It was pretty hilarious. So I've had deck texts about these if you guys are interested, but this guy here, one of the new Fallout commanders, the Master
the Master
Transcendent.
Transcendent. Yeah, this
Yeah,
guy
so this guy,
is good.
whenever you mill a creature, you can tap it and put target creature card in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control. It's a green mutant with base power and toughness 3. So there's not like a ton of mill in my deck, but there's enough like rad counter generation. So they're kind of milling like 1 or 2 a turn. Well, one of the buddies, one of the things that there's one card that like really helped with this Mesmeric Orb. So one of the old cards here. Mesmeric Orb. Whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's controller puts the top card of his or her library into his graveyard. It's actually a mill. It's been reworded to be a mill. So like if you hover over it and you go to view details, you see it says mills a card because the Transcendent has to be mill. It cannot be puts the top card of, or no other way can it reanimate. It has to specifically be the word mill. So you have to look at cards and make sure that they're like they've been like reworded or whatever, errated. But anyways, so Mesmeric Orb. So I play a Mesmeric Orb, and I'm like looking at my buddy's board state. He has like 30 zombies from Field of the Dead. He's about to make like another 10 more. He's playing a Lord Windgrace deck, which is like a lands matters deck, lots of
Hmm.
landfalls and land triggers, and he's about to have the Merit Lage, the 2020 flying
Oh,
indestructible. He
geez.
can make that. He like the Dark Depths. He can like use Vesuva and Dark Depths and like get rid of all the 10 counters immediately and have a Merit Lage at any time. So everybody's looking. We're like looking at. We're like, oh, we need to get rid of him. He's a problem. So I play Mesmeric Orb and I look at how many he has. He has 13 zombies tapped because he had just attacked somebody, and then he has like 20 lands tapped. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna mill like 30 cards on his upkeep. That's gonna be great. And then I look at my hand and I'm like, I have a card that is hilarious, and I only put it in here as kind of like it's not really designed to be, it's not really designed to mill anybody, but a brain freeze. And so I laugh and I'm like looking, I'm like, there's a real chance that I can mill him. And then when I say that, my buddy to the right of me goes, he's like, I can help a little bit with that. And I'm like, you have a mill card in your hand? He shows me brain freeze. And I'm like, so he has a brain freeze and I have a brain freeze. And then my buddy on the next turn, he plays like 6 spells. And I'm like, well, if there's any chance now, the storm counts 6. And he was like, well, I guess we're going for it. So my buddy brain freezes him, then I brain freeze him, and then he untaps and mills all of his cards.
Oh, geez.
And then I end up having a combination with the Mesmeric Orb, the Altar of Dementia, and Zealix. This guy here, Zealix Mind Sanity Flayer. This guy from this is from Baldur's Gate. So he is whenever a player mills one or more creature cards, you create a 1/1. So you sacrifice the 1/1, you
Wow.
mill target player with Altar of Dementia. If they mill a creature, it's a free mill. You do it again. So I was like, I had like 6 dudes out, and I was just like, sack a creature, mill, sack, mill, sack, mill, sack, mill. And then he untapped with Mesmeric Orb, and he ended up getting milled out too. So yeah, very, very weird way of winning with this deck. But that's the first time I've ever killed anybody with mill and commander. So, and it's not even designed to do that. It's supposed to be a reanimator deck, so it's got all kinds of reanimator stuff. It's even got an illegal card that's not even officially released yet. Have you
Oh, that's
looked into any
awesome.
commanders recently? Any new decks you're itching to build?
Uh, I can't say as though there have been. There were a couple of cards in Outlaws of Thunder Junction that were pretty interesting. Nothing that really,
True.
jumps out at me still, but I think that Kellen the Kid deck seemed like it could be fun. There was
My
another
buddy
Kellen
built it.
card I think that had a bit more power to it. But in general, I think that it's kind of gotten some of my enthusiasm back for some landfall stuff because there
Yeah.
were a couple of good cards for that. So I might want to revisit one of my Omnath decks, kind of tune that up a little bit. It's been a fun play style, and I like the kind of blowout cards that you get to play when you're doing that in ramp. So yeah, more
Yeah,
just a
it's
reinvigoration.
my buddy built the Kellen the Kid deck because I pulled the breaking news version of it, and
Ooh,
he was like, how much you want for that? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll check on TCG Player. If it's less than $1, you can have it. Well, it was less than $1, so he can have it. I ended up giving him like 6 or 7 different cards that he wanted, which I don't care. Like I said, they're worth nothing. But it plays really cool. Like you're able to it's kind of like that is it Vorin collects, or like whenever you play a card, you can like play another card from your hand with like equal or less mana cost. Is kind of how it plays out as far as
okay,
Kellen's
yeah.
concerned. But you have to play them from outside of your hand, so you have to use like the fairy tales, like go on an adventure. You have to use
Hmm.
like exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn. You play that, and then you're able to play stuff from your hand. It plays out really well. He never won with that deck, but he was doing pretty good. Yeah, that one. And it's got flying and lifelink for 3 mana. It's not bad. It's in decent colors. Bant ain't terrible.
Yeah, low to the ground. I mean, you can definitely build around it, and even if it's not like the centerpiece of the deck itself, you could still have a lot of fun
Yeah,
playing
you
this.
can
I could see
plot,
it
you
being a
can suspend, you
hmm,
can fairy. What is it? Foretell. There's a
yeah.
lot of different ways you can build around him, and you can use all of those really.
Well, since it is May the 4th, has anybody actually been playing Star Wars Unlimited? That's something I was wondering. Is anybody actually playing this game? I see a lot of people talking about, the value of it and the box fluctuations, the price points and making money off it and pulling cool cards, but I don't know if anybody's actually playing this. That's what's really odd to me.
I haven't been playing it, but it's not necessarily due to like the lack of interest in it exactly that. It's more about that just I have a lot of things that I'm
Mm,
in the process of doing, and I don't really have a group of friends that even play it, so I don't actually know if any of my friends are interested in Star Wars at all, to be honest. Like I think they're all kind of like the same as me. They're like pretty indifferent about it. Like not bad, not great, just kind of whatever. But yeah, there's like in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, there is a Commander Obeka. She's the one that whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you get that many more upkeeps.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, so you play a bunch of spells that like say at the beginning of your upkeep X happens or you get
Hmm,
X or whatever. So yeah, you just kind of play her, and she has menace, which is nice, a little bit of evasion, and obviously you build her with like curiosity and like stuff that makes her unblockable or
right, yeah.
it gets benefit whenever you do combat damage because you want to be able to a little bit of
Yeah, and
you
with
want to be able to
blue
connect.
in the, color scheme there, that's gonna be easy enough.
Yeah, Grixis is a solid combination. You'll have no
Mhm.
problem doing crazy things in Grixis. Probably the
And with
second best color combination in
and with
Magic.
red too, I mean, you're gonna be getting extra combat phases too. So it doesn't even say that it has to be to a different player.
Nope,
So, yeah,
as long as you connect.
you could definitely stack this up.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool different ways to build her. Well, I guess
It's
not really.
cheap.
You just
Not even
focus
50
around
cents.
the upkeep. Yeah, the not expensive at all. One of the cool things that I like doing, I like going to EDH Rec and going to top commanders, and you can do within the past month. And she's
Mm.
actually the top commander by a large margin.
Oh, wow.
And the other one is Stella Lee, which is interesting. I didn't expect Stella Lee to be number two. But she is interesting. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile the top card of your library until the end of the next turn. You can play that card, and then you can tap her, copy target instant or sorcery you control. And you may choose new targets for the copy, but activate only if you've cast 3 more spells. So it's
Hmm.
kind of a storm-esque deck.
Yeah. And it I mean, super cheap.
Also near
1
storm.
blue and a red.
Yeah. Mothman number 3. He's a pretty good one. The Wise Mothman. I actually feel like the I'm actually a little surprised the Reanimator guy isn't up higher. He's really strong. The Pantlaza deck is still doing well. I'm actually a little surprised Voha uh, isn't uh, isn't higher as well. Voha's pretty fucking busted.
Coach
He's
makes a great point here. He says, "Come to think of it, the deck building aspect of Magic the Gathering is a huge part of what makes it the top TCG." And I think he's probably right. Um, the collectability aspect of it has always been, a huge variance, small driving factor, but the different decks you can make and how you can play the game has definitely been one of the largest factors in the long run health of the game. I think that's why like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh aren't quite as prevalent as Magic is still because people are playing the game and they're constantly brewing up new decks and like Matt was showing off, there's interactions with old cards that just have a different power nowadays or you're able to utilize in a different manner completely.
yeah, like for Albeca, for instance, like there's the shrines, the Handen shrines that like nobody's really ever gonna unless you're playing like a shrine deck, I guess.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
but like not many people really ever play the shrines, but I actually think that they could be pretty decent in this version of the deck. Same thing with like all of the sieges or the sieges, the enchantments that are like you choose cons or dragons because they trigger at the beginning of your upkeep.
Oh, right,
Um,
yeah.
and then also Paradox Haze as well. At the beginning of enchanted player's first upkeep each turn, that player gets an additional upkeep step after that step. So you get like uh extra upkeeps. It's very strange. But it's
Upkeep
another way
up.
that you can Yeah, it's another like Bitter Blossom. That's kind of interesting. Get a bunch of 1/1s, but then you lose a bunch of life.
Mm,
But yeah,
yeah,
lot of cool things.
yeah.
The shrines were one that I liked when I was younger. Like Handan of Seeing Winds is a 5 mana enchantment that at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card for each shrine you control, and there's a bunch of different color shrines. I think there's multiple shrines per color.
Yeah,
But
there
the
are.
problem is then you'd have to play like all the shrines, and 5 mana for a shrine that makes you draw one card isn't great.
Yeah, but then you're
So
just playing a Go Shintai deck with an Obeka in it.
sure, yeah, Goshintai is probably the better commander for that style of play.
But still, that's again, shout out to Coach. It makes me want to brew up a Go Shintai deck. I've
My
never
buddies
actually
played one.
piloted one myself, and
It's very good.
yeah, pack opening addict. A lot of times when we were playing and back in the day, that was like his go-to because it was what was coming out at the time. And yeah, definitely fun play style. There's a lot of combo aspects there for enchantments, and it's nice to have permanent power on the board state. So
I love that it's playing one of the best cards that I think it can play, really. I actually when this card was announced, I wanted to do more with it. So I might make a commander deck around this, but its problem is it's like it makes you be monocolored, which isn't necessarily the greatest, but this card right here, Plarg and Nasari. It's just a 5 mana 5/4 at the beginning of your upkeep. Each player exiles a top card from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. An opponent chooses a non-land card exiled this way. You may cast up to 2 spells from among the other cards exiled this way. So at the beginning of your upkeep, if this triggers more than one, it's already insane if it triggers once. If it triggers multiple times from Obeka, like holy, you get to cast like a bunch of free spells.
yeah,
Like I want to play this deck, but you're in mono red. So I don't like that. So maybe the Obeka deck is how I play this card. It'll be my secret commander.
right.
I like
Yeah,
doing
just
that
filter.
sometimes. I like when there's cards like this that I'm like really into. And the nice thing about Obeka is that she is Grixis, so she's black, so you can play a bunch of tutors and stuff in order to get your secret commander.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with EDH Rec, which I hope you are, but it
Right.
gives you a bunch of different varieties of and themes of how to build each commander. And one of the things that I like to see going to is at the top left commanders. You can go to top commanders. Atraxa has been the top commander since I've played Magic the Gathering. It's actually kind of insane. But one of the cool things about Atraxa is that she has so many different ways of being built. Infects,
Mm,
Planeswalkers, Phyrexians, 1/1 counters, sagas. Like these are all the top, like more than 500 versions or
the
more than 500
styles, yeah.
decks built for it. So obviously that becomes quite strong. And of course, like a 4 mana 4/4 flying Vig, Death Touch, Lifelink, and also proliferates at your end step. Like it's just so much value.
It's got the juice.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, but what I like doing is I like going past month when a new set comes out and seeing like what people are interested in the last month. And of course, Atraxa still up there. The Air Dragon's always up there. But Voha, this is another
Yeah, that
commander
thing's
that
broke.
he's
That thing's
so
so
strong.
good. Yeah.
5 mana 5/5 Vig Trample Ward 3, so a very solid ward. Um, and then you've got the ability to where whenever Voha attacks, you put a 1/1 counter, X 1/1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control, and you draw a card for each number of wolves you control. It's pretty good. My buddy he built this deck, and there are plenty of times where he's drawn like 5, 6 cards, put 4 counters on all of his creatures. And then you play a bunch of mana dorks that typically your mana dorks aren't like whatever, but there's a lot of elf mana dorks that'll get
Mhm.
1/1 counters. So all those elf mana dorks become monsters.
Yep.
And not only that, there's some busted interactions
And
with
it
where is
doesn't
it at?
say non-token elves either. So, like,
This
all the
card.
bullshit elf creators oh, yeah, shapeshifters and changelings.
Well, not even just that. What Mirror Entity does specifically,
Yeah.
until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. So then all of your creatures give +1/+1 counters on all of your creatures, and you draw a card for every creature you control. It's just bonkers. And plus, of course, you can make their base power and toughness even larger than, and then
Mm.
they get the 1/1 counters. It's Mirror Entity is a huge monster for this deck. Massbook Nexus, look at that. Look at that.
Yep.
Bob would be proud. It makes a ton
Yep.
of sense in this deck.
Everything's
All creatures you
everything.
control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and cards you own. It plays a land, one of the utility lands that I don't even ever heard of before, unless my buddy just plays it. Oh man, he may have like special tech. There's like this land that when you can like give a creature haste.
Hmm.
Huh. I'm surprised it's not in this list. I forgot. I can't remember what the name is. Maybe it's in top cards, high synergy cards. No, he just plays it. He's just a baller. He's just a baller deck builder. It's a really good land. It gives I think it's Godos. Where's Scryfall at? Why Scryfall? How many Godos do you think there are? 33. So it's not Godo. Is it Hall of the
So
Bandit
Coach
Lord?
wanted to know, Matt, have you ever built a mono red deck?
That's what. Wait, is it Hall of the Bandit Lord? Nope, it's not Hall of the Bandit Lord. Either way, it gives a creature. Oh no, it is that Hall of Bandit Lord. Pay 3 life, add 1 mana. If that mana was spent to cast a creature, that creature gains haste. Yeah, so this should definitely be in there. Maybe because it comes with a battlefield tapped, which kind of sucks. Have I ever built a mono red deck? We can check the decks that I've built. Can I like sort it by color? No. Okay.
So there's
So
some.
I've built a colorless deck. There we go. I've built a colorless deck,
Oh
colorless
no, those are
cascade.
borrows.
I've built a mono black decks. This was Selval enchantment, or no, I'm sorry, Emotech. I built another mono black deck, which was Shieldred, Group Huggish. Built a mono white deck, Angels, and another mono black deck, Kirik. So, have I built a mono red deck? Absolutely not.
Time to get Goblin, huh?
I have a buddy that played a Goblin deck that was decent. It could go wide pretty easily.
Get some Cranko action. Crank it
If
up.
I were to play, let's see here. Let's check the EDH rec. Let's go to Commanders, monocolor red. If I were to pick a commander, definitely wouldn't be maybe Magda. Magda because you can do dragons. I like dragons. I could see myself playing a Magda deck.
Or that fucking Transformers card, second row down on the left. That
Yeah,
thing's a
the
bitch.
Slicer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see myself playing Slicer. What
Oh,
the cool
that's
thing about the
fucking
Slicer card, if you
gross.
guys are familiar with them, so the cool thing about this Living Metal version is that so when you cast it, it becomes this Living Metal version. It's just a oh, hold on, is it the other version? Is it the Hired Muscle version? Oh yeah, it's the Hired Muscle version. So you cast this commander for its more than meets the eye cost, which is 3, and then you deal damage and it flips it to the front side. Is that how that works? Yeah, because it has haste. So you convert it, and then you hand it to your player at the beginning of to your opponents at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. You may have that player gain control of Slicer until end of turn. If you do, untap Slicer, you goad it so it can't attack you, and it can't be sacrificed, so they can't like use your commander to sacrifice it. And then if you don't, you convert it back. But it's a double striking 3/4, which is pretty great. You can get us out on turn 1.
Yeah.
And what it does is because it's commander damage, you like enchant your dude with stuff and you like make him more powerful, and you just keep handing it to each opponent and they have to find a way to get rid of it or else they just beat each other down with your creature. It's great.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
awesome in the grossest of ways.
It makes commander games very quickly. You either do that or you do absolutely nothing for the rest of the game because
Right. Yeah.
they keep killing your commander and then you cannot play the game. So that's kind of annoying. But you know, it is what it is. That would be a deck that I would be interested in playing, would be the Slicer deck. But I feel like the reason why I haven't built it is I think it'd be cute and fun for like a couple games. And then I feel like it'd be a deck that I'd only pull out like once every couple months just to kind of like,
Yeah.
let's have a fun game. It feels like it's like not a super fun deck to play against. So I don't know. I definitely wouldn't want to do goblins. I'm not really into goblins. I would do Magda, Zada. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery that targets only Zada. This deck seems interesting. The Zada deck seems interesting. You can do a lot of funny, crazy stuff with Zada. So I'd be interested in playing Zada. No, this is kind of just Torborin just looks like a normal Bernie deck, which is kind of a little boring. Imodane is kind of like another Zada, which is interesting. I guess it's just more burn as well. I like fun. The Perforos could be fun. Perforos kind of just seems like one of those commanders that you just like. As your commander, I can see him being like pretty bonkers. He's indestructible, isn't a creature until you have the actual devotion. So if you play a bunch of creatures, he might never become token creatures. He might never become a permanent to be like killed with a kill spell or like a exile, path of exile or whatever. So I can see myself playing a Perforos deck as kind of like another. It'd be similar to like the Slicer deck where I feel like it might be a little too easy to become like I kill everybody with all of my red burn.
Right. Yeah.
It's so straightforward mono red. That's kind of why I'm not I don't know, I never really built it. But like when it's fun, like Magda, when you're like making treasures to like bring out dragons and then killing people with dragons, that's cool. I like that. And then of course that the Nisarian Plarg or wherever the creature I talked about earlier, I would play a deck like that because it kind of plays off of Atali. Atali would be another commander that I would
Oh
play.
yeah, yeah.
Except for I would rather play the tomb. So of course this is what happens to me all the time. I'd rather play the better Atali,
Yeah.
this one here. This is the Gruul version where it's kind of the same thing. Whenever it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they reveal exile a non-land card, and you can cast any number of them. And you can transform it if you really want to, but like not many people ever really do that. But it does have it is an 11/11 trample indestructible, and it also gives poison counters whenever it deals combat damage to them. So it's
Yeah.
kind
So
of
it's definitely nothing to sneeze at.
yeah, it's not bad. But the problem that I always have with these cards, these transform cards, I don't like them because it's an activated ability. So you can pay 10 mana and then they can just kill it in response. And I don't like that. That makes me sad. So I don't want to do that. But I do like the idea of cloning Atali though. You play Atali and then you clone it and then you make your commander go back to the command zone. And then you can just like make a copy or make you can even have the copy die, but you still get the enter the battlefield trigger, which is pretty cool. So I like that idea. So yeah, Atali would definitely be something that I would play, but it's not mono red, so I guess that's avoiding the question. But as you can see, I don't. There's just not a lot of mono red and mono blue are like the two that I'm just kind of like I can play so many other things if I just add a color. So my sweet spot is 2 and 3 colors.
I think in
Delina
general,
could be
that's the issue
fun.
with like monocolored commanders across the board, though, is by adding just another single color, you're accessing such a larger color pie and you're having that many more interactions available.
Yeah. But yeah, mono is like Godo is another one of those commanders, kind of like Slicer, where like you can do Godo with the Helm of the Host and do like the infinite, combat phases and make infinite Godos,
Cheeky,
and
cheeky, man.
it's just counting. It's just counting to 11 is like the joke that if you can count to 11, you can play a Godo deck, which is true because you play the Godo, you get Helm of the Host, it costs 5 mana, it enters the battlefield, you go to combat, it equips. And then or maybe you have to equip it. I don't remember. Either way, you just count to 11 is what I remember people saying about the deck, and then you just make infinite Godos and then you win the game. So it's like, like it's you can do it, and especially when you're in mono red, you just play a bunch of ramp, like Seething Songs and stuff like that. Kind of boring is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You have a ton more fun when you add in more colors. Kiki Jiki's another one of those ones where you could
Yeah.
build like a pretty interesting deck around. It makes it a little less interesting because it can only copy non-legendaries. Like you don't have to go the Kiki Jiki combo. You can do like Kiki Jiki, like just good clone. Just have good enter the battlefield triggers and stuff.
Mm.
But my buddy made a Dargo deck.
Mm.
But it is a partner, so I think his was Dargo. It might be Dargo Jessica. This is one of the CDH staple decks. I don't know if it's staple necessarily, but it can. It's got a decent little combo there, but kind of boring as well. Yeah, Plarg and Asari. Like this might be my first foray into a monocolored deck. I like the ability to like. I like that it triggers at the
I'd
beginning
like
of
to
each
see it.
upkeep, which
That'd
is
be cool.
nice. And I also like this. I like that it exiles until you hit a non-land card you can't whiff. You'll always get something. You won't get the best thing, which kind of sucks because your opponents have the choice of, getting rid of the non-best thing, but you'll get everything else, which is great.
Mm.
And then if you had a way to like copy upkeep steps or trigger upkeeps multiple times, which maybe there's a way to do. But again, why not just play Obeka and have Plarg and Nasari in the 99, and then
Right.
you can do this multiple times, and that's where that's the reason why I don't play mono decks,
Yeah.
except for mono black. Mono black has like so many cool, awesome commanders that like you can like Shieldred you could build around. It's just a huge like there's so many. There's not really another color I want to add to Shieldred. She just does everything you want to do, and the colors support her so much that the color supports her so much
Mm,
that you just don't need it. Same thing with Keurig, because Keurig wants just black mana symbols. That's all he wants. So like you
mm.
just play all of them and then you win. Same thing
What's
with
what's funny about Marinar though is it's a rats deck in Orzhov is phenomenal. Like Luris rats, I found to be just so freaking powerful.
yeah.
But then
What's
again,
the other
Marinar
one?
does it probably just as well.
Mask a Girl, Known Killer.
Mm,
This is a deck I'm going to build very soon. This is one of the new ones from um, Karlov Manor, and it's just a 4 mana 4/4 with menace that has creatures you control have wither when they deal their combat damage in the form of -1/-1 counters. And then whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card. So if you have any
mm.
like dismember is just kill target creature, draw a card. It just adds draw a card to so many kill spells and so many board wipes and so many like for instance Massacre Worm just becomes like they're gonna lose 2 life for each creature that an opponent controls dies, and you're gonna draw a card for each one. Black Sun Zenith, a really good board wipe. You can do it for you really wouldn't really want to do it for more than 4 because you want to keep your Massacre Girl around. But the actual like normal Massacre Girl works well with it as well because it gives one negative counters. Although it will kill your commander because it kind of spirals. But yeah, Necro Skitter. This one's fantastic. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies with a -1/-1 counter on it, you reanimate it to your side of the field. That seems really good. So yeah, just Massacre Girl seems very strong. Mono Red's kind of the weakest solo color in Magic, I think. Now that I think about it, it has to be the weakest. What do you think? Do you think Mono Red's the weakest? Maybe colorless?
Yeah, well, nowadays with all the additions of Eldrazi that they've been going through, especially with what's coming in MH3, I'd say no. Colorless is probably stronger than mono red.
Yeah, my
Like,
Zulu Dog deck, it can do some bonkers things.
yeah, that's what
And
I'm
because you don't
saying.
have to
It's
care
like,
about colors, you can just run all the dirty mana rocks that like
yeah,
it's just yeah, big mana. This is look how many decks have been built with this guy already. That's actually kind of wild. And what's crazy to me is Cascade isn't like not even on the list. I guess there's
Cascade's
really not that
so
many color
broken.
Cascades. He already Cascades. But yeah, all the mana rocks, these boys, Soul Ring, Thought Vessel. I mean, I don't know if I would run these two, but like Dreamstone, Heteron, Warden Power Stone, Everflowing Chalice. Yep, you play all those. Basalt Monolith. Yep, there's infinite combos. Mana Vault, Mana Crypt. Yep, you run those all for sure. Um, I don't. That would probably stop there, but
Can you
they're
play Jeweled Lotus in that deck? Like, does
I
that
do.
fucking help?
Yep. Yeah. So the way Jeweled Lotus is worded, it doesn't care about your color identity of your commander. It just adds mana of any color to play your commander. It's not like it doesn't care
Uh,
about the color of your commander. It just says add 3 mana of any one color, spend this mana to cast your commander.
And
It,
colorless is a color.
no. You just use 3 red, 3 blue, 3 green. Doesn't matter. He doesn't
Oh,
require colorless. I think he might require 1 colorless. Yeah, he requires 1 color. He requires 1. I forgot how's it worded. There's colorless and then there's whatever this symbol is.
waste,
Well, it is wastes make it.
desert. I don't
Hold
know.
on. Maybe waste will say what it generic. I think it's called generic mana.
Generic, yeah.
Yeah, there's colorless and then there's generic. So it requires 1 generic because these like specifically tap for generic versus some lands actually tap for colorless. Maybe, maybe not. But one of the cool things that I like about him as well is that the number of utility lands you get to play. I don't know what it is about the Urza's lands. I love the Urza's lands. The Urza's Tower, Mine, and Power Plant. You assemble the three and they tap for 1,000,000 mana. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but like, you play Urza's Mine, Tower, and Plant. You not only play those, but you also play, where's it at? How is it not in this list? Urza's Workshop here. How is it only in 54% of the deck? These guys are insane. Urza's Workshop is a Metalcraft. Add one colorless for each Urza land you control. It counts itself, so it automatically counts for one. And if you have any of the other Urza lands, they count for themselves as well. And then you play Thespian Stage and Vesuva, which are the copy lands. So you copy Urza's Workshop. So then you have, they're not legendary. So you just have like
Yeah.
multiple lands that tap for like 1,000,000
Yeah.
colorless mana. And there's a couple different ways to like search for lands, like expedition map. You can search for a land card. I actually found out recently from a viewer comment, which was really, really cool, that in the section here, where is it at? There's a really good artifact that I'm actually a little surprised I'm not seeing it. Sir?
Scroll Rack, the one nobody's ever heard of.
Oh, it might be in high synergy cards. Or in top cards? Yeah, Forsaken Monument. So Forsaken Monument, it can be tutored with what is it? Not Expedition Map, but the other one. The one that searches for a card with a mana ability. Manifold Key? No. Moonsilver Key? Search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability. Yeah, so Moonsilver Key, it says search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability on it. I didn't know that Forsaken Monument counted as a mana ability. But I guess that whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional colors is considered a mana ability.
Oh, yeah, I kind of guess.
Which is interesting. So this second line here is a mana ability, I guess. I didn't know that until a viewer mentioned it, and then I looked it up to double check, because not every viewer is right, and not every streamer is right. So you have to double check people's work. But confirmed, it is definitely
that's a thing.
A mana ability, which is cool. So yeah, so color. I still think colorless is even stronger, and this isn't even the strongest colorless commander. Like, you've got any of the big Eldrazi's that like Kozilek the Great Distortion. You draw a bunch of cards when you play him, and then you can discard a card and counter people's stuff. Like, yeah, there are some pretty powerful. I'm a little surprised Zuladoc is the highest already. I'll be honest. Like,
Cascade's
10,000
awesome, dude.
Wow, that is true. I love me some Cascade, even though a lot of the times it's pretty bad, but it's still
value. It's
fun.
free shit.
It's fun.
It's like playing the lottery.
Yeah, pull the lever. You get like, it's like a loot box every time you play a 7-drop.
Well, hey, we're a bit over an hour at this point. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up for this evening?
I'm just having a blast talking about decks that I haven't built yet, or decks that I have built. Other than that, yeah, I mean, maybe coaches, maybe I'll try to get a mono red deck theme going. Maybe I'll try to see if I can a non-burn one, because a burn one's super easy. Like, I don't know, it's just too easy for me.
And that gimmicky slicer deck, that's gonna definitely, like you said, get played out too quick. You'll have a few fun times with it, but then it gets shelved.
Yeah, like it's like a Magna. Even Magna's a little too. It's too easy, because there's so many decks that are like, it would be easy to build because there's so much information out there for Magda, because it's a popular deck. So I'd probably even want to avoid a Magda, because I know how it's going to play. I play a Magda, I create treasures, I get dragons. Like, that's pretty simple, and it's fun. I think it's good. But like something like Zada interests me a lot. It's the one where whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell that only targets Zada, you copy it for each other creature you control. There are some like I don't know if you can fling. Can you fling everybody? Is that how that? I don't even know how that works. Because if you target your commander to fling it,
I don't know if you can fling itself.
Yeah, because it's sacrificing it as part of an additional cost to fling, I think. Either way, I think that's more interesting, being able to like do the spell slinger deck variety. Like, target creature control gets +2/+0 in haste. And you just all of your creatures get +2/0 in haste. That's pretty fun. So you go wide. Stuff like that is interesting. Making copies of all like one creature and then make copies of all of your creatures. That's pretty interesting. Stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that I'd be more interested in. Although it does seem like it's more. It still seems like it's more like aggro. Although I don't really have a lot of decks that win with combat. Most of the time, well, I mean they do, but they win with like big creatures. I really don't have like a go wide deck. I don't know. I'll look into it. We'll see. See if anything really. Oh my god, that's Plaga Nasari would be like the one that I probably would go with. You can play a Jeweled Lotus, get it out on turn 2 or turn 1, really, if you really wanted to play super degenerate Magic, and that's what you really want to do. Plaga Nasari, you have to get it out soon. If you don't get it out quick enough, it's not going to do enough work. So yeah, that's it. Hope everybody has a wonderful day, and
Yeah.
thanks for watching, of course.
May the 4th be with you.
We didn't even address it, but Bob's going to be out for the next month. He's got some
Oh,
family
yeah.
stuff that he's dealing with. His brother's coming into town, going to spend some time with the family, stuff like that. He'll be back.
Yeah. Until next time, take care. Be well.
Later, guys.